Well, to nobody's surprise, I was right about the NBA completely changing over the last week up until the trade deadline. Now, obviously, I didn't expect literally the biggest trade in NBA history to happen, but there was a lot more that went down that maybe changed the team's current, way of playing and their view of what success looks like, or maybe the future for some teams. I know a lot of people are still wrapped up in the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis stuff, but there are some other moves that we got to go over, so let's just go through the NBA trade tracker. Now, I am going to skip the Luka Mavs stuff because I do want to make a whole video talking about that and kind of going more in depth, because the video that I did make was very reactionary. It was like right after it happened. I'm just kind of sitting there saying what the fuck like 20 times over. So I've had a lot more time to think about it, and I think it makes a little bit more sense for both teams now in a way. Okay, just stay tuned for that, okay? Subscribe, when that video comes out, whatever. Because really the move that I feel like would have been the biggest trade up until the deadline if the Luka stuff didn't happen was De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I also made a video talking about this one, but because we've seen games from them now, I can kind of talk a little bit more about it. The Sacramento Kings did not look good. Okay, the 2 games that they had Zach LaVine, it was just disgusting. I actually went and saw his first game with the team, and yeah, I could have probably stayed home that day. But I always said that Zach LaVine is just going to need some more time playing in like the Sabonis system. I was talking to my good friend Drew, or that local guy if you know him on Twitter, and the way he kind of described it was that in Chicago, they just didn't really run anything. It was just kind of you give the ball to Zach, you maybe run, one pick and roll with Vucevic or whatever it is, but there's really no plays there. And so for Zach LaVine, you can see it in his first game with the team. He's just kind of confused a lot of the time. Like, he doesn't know why he has such an open shot, or he doesn't know if he should take the open shot. And so it's one of those things where I'm going to kind of give the Kings a couple of games, or at least like after the, All-Star break and after, a couple games even after that, to really decide like if this move was good for them. We know that Fox was going to be out either way, so it's not really about that. It's more about whether or not they should have gone for this move or if they should have done a full rebuild. But that being said, City Sissoko, I don't think I've actually said this guy's name right in literally any video I've done, even though I know it very well. City Sissoko. Okay, back to the video. I am very sad to see him get traded to the Wizards and then immediately drop. Don't know why no one has picked him up yet, but that's very upsetting. As for De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs, if you watch this game, you know that he played great, and I knew he was going to. Everybody knew he was the best fit next to Wemby, and that's just what it is. I mean, there's really not much to go into there because it's going to be more exciting to see how they play out and how their future is compared to sitting here and overreacting for one game. But that's not the only move that the Kings made at the deadline, because they also went ahead and traded for Jonas Valanciunas. He's actually having his introduction press conference right now, which is really funny because he played yesterday. Like, he played his first game with the team and is just now doing the whole introduction thing. But this was a move that I love for the Kings. I mean, they only gave up City Sissoko. You can't be fucking serious. Who, like I just said, got waived, and then 2 second-round picks. Basically nothing to finally get a backup center. Very huge for the team. Defense is still not there, but we'll get there in a bit. One thing that's not necessarily like a trade overall, like it's not one specific move that I want to go over, but I do want to talk about the Wizards and the deadline that they had, because this guy on Twitter, Greg Finberg, just showed everyone, and I'm kind of spoiling the moves that went down this deadline, but just showed them what the Wizards did during this trade deadline, and my God, they went crazy. Dawkins is their GM, and yeah, they went absolutely nuts. To get 5 seconds off in return for 3 first-rounders and 2 seconds in return, and then obviously your players, Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Marcus Smart, Colby Jones, and Alex Len. Crazy. For what you're dropping out of the team, absolutely insane. So because I'm not going to go over too many like Wizards deals, I wanted to give them their credit for what they have done this offseason. The Atlanta Hawks also made a ton of moves that were just kind of like weird to me. Like, it was just like, what are they doing? But if we're going to talk about questionable moves, the Pacers traded James Wiseman to the Raptors, and basically the moral of this trade was just to dump the guy. The Raptors ended up waiving him, which is just crazy to see. James Wiseman might not be in the NBA any longer. I mean, with all the injuries that he's had and just kind of being the underwhelming prospect in general. Very, very just kind of sad to see, to be honest. You always hate when that kind of happens to some guy. But you know what we do love to see? Yusuf Nurkić get traded, I guess. Yeah, the deal finally happened. The Phoenix Suns got rid of him. Talk about one of the weirdest deadlines that we have ever seen. The Phoenix Suns in general are just in a terrible position right now. They basically screamed from the rooftops that they were going to trade Kevin Durant, and then KD was like, yo, I want to stay here. Why are you trying to trade me? So that was like a very awkward moment, but they finally got rid of Nurkić, which I feel like was maybe someone who was a locker room cancer, or someone who wasn't really good for the team. They also got rid of a first-round pick in exchange for Cody Martin, Vasilier, and a second-round pick in return. This doesn't really move the needle for them. The Phoenix Suns are just buns. I'm sorry, they're not good. This is another move that actually blew my mind. The Miami Heat received Davion Mitchell in exchange for PJ Tucker, a second-round pick, and cash considerations. This is huge for the Miami Heat. Obviously, Davion Mitchell was drafted by the Kings, got traded to the Raptors for a bag of chips, basically. I think Davion Mitchell fits so well in the Miami Heat system, and the overall moves that the Heat have made this offseason, I am very much looking forward to watching their team. I think they finally got rid of Jimmy, so he's not like in the locker room causing, you know, drama or whatever it is, you know, just kind of what that brings to the team. That's finally out of there. And overall, yeah, just when it comes to Davion Mitchell, the defense, he has that Miami Heat mold to him. He just feels like such a Miami Heat guy. He's also really into Instagram models and just is overall a horny ass player. So I'm sure he will love Miami. He will most likely have a great time down there. Another huge trade was the Milwaukee Bucks finally moving on from Chris Middleton. I think this was one of the most talked about deals of the deadline, was them moving Chris Middleton. I've been saying for years, I think it's time. Right, I think Chris Middleton is just, he gets hurt every single time. Both of his ankles are just absolute glass. He's never going to be on the floor. Yes, I know he helped you win the championship, but god damn it, there are times where you have to move on. Now, is Kyle Kuzma going to be the best replacement in this situation? Is he going to be the guy that can just kind of slot in and be great? Maybe. I mean, we know it's been a career worse for him this season. He has not been good whatsoever. But I feel like maybe in that role where he doesn't have to be the main guy on the team, he can just kind of slot back into his Lakers role, which is just solid role player, you know, does whatever. Maybe he fits better there. Maybe he, you know, obviously wasn't meant to be the #1 guy on a franchise. So that could be a good move. I feel like anything is really a positive though when you get rid of Chris Middleton. So even though if you're like a Bucks fan, that might be a sad move, I am still okay with what they did. This next trade here, where the Lakers acquired Mark Williams from the Hornets. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I did not know enough about Mark Williams' game. I was actually sitting at that Kings game I was talking about earlier when I got the notification, and the thing that really shocked me was that Dalton Knecht was looking like a great young prospect. I thought he was one of the guys that they were gonna keep untouchable, specifically because in the Luka deal, there were talks that he was going to be involved, and Rob Pelinka was like, no. And the fact that you say no to anyone, I guess it shows how fucking stupid Nico Harrison is, but it also showed me okay, they really value Dalton Knecht. They don't want to get rid of him. So for them to do this deal, not to mention the fucking 2031 unprotected first-round pick, I thought they were crazy for it, okay? I did not know, I was not familiar with Mark Williams' game, okay? You know, I know that he barely plays. He's an injury-prone guy. So at first, I thought, this is stupid. What are the Lakers even doing, right? This is ridiculous. Well, I was wrong, because after watching some Mark Williams, god damn does he look good. I think he has the longest wingspan in the NBA right now, the perfect lob threat to put alongside Luka. He's kind of slotting into that Derek Lively role that he had on the Dallas Mavericks, where it's just kind of being that lob threat guy. Is this going to be their huge championship push and the huge, you know, move that's going to make them a contender this year? Probably not, if I had to guess. I just hope that the guy can stay healthy, because I do think he can have a really cool, really fun career, as much as I hate that it's happening in LA. And then probably the biggest trade, not only because of the talent and the players who are involved, but also just the fact that it's a 5-team deal. We have the Jimmy Butler move, where Jimmy goes to Golden State, Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and Davion Mitchell go to the Miami Heat, and then everything else that you see happening on the screen. I don't want to say too much about this, because I do want to make a video talking about Jimmy Butler going to Golden State. But what I will say, this is the most stupid fucking deal I have ever seen. We're approaching Bradley Beal contract levels of bad. The way that we're talking about how the Golden State Warriors not only signed Jimmy when they knew that he didn't really want to be a part of the team, but then also locked him in on a 2-year, $120 million deal. You're paying $60 million a year for a 35 and 37-year-old Jimmy Butler. Do you seriously think you're going to win a championship? And I have so much more about this, because there are more rumors about what the Warriors were actually trying to do with this move. But once again, I'm sorry to blue ball you guys. You're going to have to stay tuned and wait for me to make that video talking about it, because I have so much pent-up anger towards this damn franchise. And yeah, I've made 2 videos about it in like the last month, so you already know I am pissed and I want to talk more about it. So that being said, on the Warriors front, I'm very questionable about the move, but for the Miami Heat, I kind of fuck with what they got going on. I know that they were trying to get rid of Kyle Anderson. I guess they continued to keep him on their team, but Andrew Wiggins and Davion Mitchell is kind of a good spot, to be honest. As for everyone else, I really don't have anything. Another move that confused me, apparently I have a ton of confusing moves this deadline, is the Raptors trading for Brandon Ingram. So the Raptors get Brandon Ingram in exchange for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick. To me, this seems like it's the first domino to fall from the New Orleans Pelicans, which is really confusing to me because why would you just do one small move instead of just selling everything right now, like everyone? But at the same time, I'm so confused because why the hell are the Raptors making this move? Like, can someone tell me in the comments? I thought they were a rebuilding team. So for you to trade for Brandon Ingram in this deal just seems so weird to me. And then we, of course, have the final trade at the buzzer of the deadline where the Wizards got Marcus Smart, Colby Jones, Alex Len. The Grizzlies got Marvin Bagley, Johnny Davis, and the Sacramento Kings got Jake LaRavia. Now, as a Kings fan, I've heard nothing but great things about Jake. I didn't get to watch the introduction press conference because I was recording this, but I am very excited to see what he can do. It seems like we're finally bringing in some of the defense, some of the length that we needed. As for the Wizards, great move for them. Once again, they killed it this year. And the Grizzlies, I think they did this as a tax thing, like as a money thing, because I don't know why you give up Marcus Smart for that return. So I'm pretty sure it's like a money thing for them. But either way, absolutely insane deadline. Lots of game-changing moves here. Teams that are just completely different now, honestly, looking at them. Teams that are contenders that weren't contenders before, with the Sacramento Kings, of course, being one of those teams. But that being said, let me know what you guys thought about the trade deadline down in the comments below. I tried to make a video talking about it like right after it happened, but I have been so busy trying to make other videos talking about specific moves that I just want to make this one where I can at least cover kind of everything and go over everything. Once again, I read and respond to everyone down in the comments below, so tell me your opinions about the deadline. Did your team make good moves? Is your team the Chicago Bulls and you didn't make any moves? Let me know everything while you're down there. If you can like and subscribe, it would help out a ton, and you're going to want to know when those other videos come out. But I will see you guys in the next one. Later.